Oh, sorry, folks. Didn't know you were here. We're just having a few laughs here for a bit. But anyways, the gentleman you see before me, if he was any smarter, he'd be among the Greek philosophers. So, but this is...
I'm Mark.
And I am... Elmer. I almost forgot my name. And we are...
Mark and Elmer's PSI. Piano Scene Investigations. And our boys are here. Here's Garoko and Igor and Toki.
Yes.
And today...
Yes, I noticed that.
It's my birthday.
Yes, and guess what, Mark? Guess who else was born on your birthday? Oh, I had it here a minute ago. Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. Guess who was born on your birthday? Well, in 1861, Charles Martin Loeffler.
I know Loeffler.
Alsatian-born American composer. Mm-hmm. In 1862, Walter Johannes Damrosch.
Oh, Walter Damrosch.
German conductor, composer.
Yeah. There's a conductor of the New York Philharmonic.
Yes. And 1944, Lynn Harrell, the American cellist. So there you go. Cool. All right, boys, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Ready? And happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear boy. Happy birthday to you. Yay! Oh, good. It wasn't a trick candle.
Wasn't a trick candle.
Oh,
this is Karpati Kuchen, Carpathian cake that's made by Vice President of Minicore, who's also a baker.
Oh.
Harry Voigt. Thank you, Harry, for my delicious birthday cake.
Wow. You want to try?
Absolutely.
Okay. My goodness. That looks luscious. It looks like it has some kind of custard or something. Or
yeah, it's like cream filling.
That's delectable.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That is delectable. It's very delicious, Mark. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, how was your week?
It was pretty busy, which is why, if you guys are waiting with bated breath to see the show every week, I only finally got all the editing and everything done 1:30 this afternoon. Had an unusually busy weekend. The Columbus Minicore that I direct, and with a few ladies with them. In December, of course, in lots of places all over America, they do the Nutcracker. And at the Columbus Symphony and Ballet, they're doing the Nutcracker during the month, and they have this wonderful, at the Ohio Theater, grand gallery at the entrance inside. And the Minicore were up in the balcony overlooking the entrance, and they sang to the audience as they were going in to see the ballet. Well, it made such a good impression that this past weekend, the Columbus Symphony did a very interesting and very good, I would say a little different than what I'm used to, but Gustav Mahler's Second Symphony, The Resurrection. And it was really the first time I heard Maestro Milanov conduct. I would say I was actually rather impressed with his style. He's almost pointillistic in the way that he treated the work and conducted the orchestra. But the orchestra was somewhat smaller. There's only like 12, maybe 15 first violins, and I think I counted 8 to 12 second violins, maybe. I don't think there were even that many. It was definitely 8 cellos and 8 violas. And for a Mahler symphony, especially a big one, like the second, it's kind of a smallish forces, but they played magnificently. I mean, everybody just, it was very clean and everything was very clear. The rhythms were very, I thought it began maybe a bit slowish, but there was a almost Rachmaninovian concept of the piece, with the climactic moment, kind of way. And I felt maybe that in some of the slower playing, it's not so much that I had to speed up, but the direction of the phrases might have gone a little forward in a way. It felt a little metronomic, but overall it was extremely well paced. The dynamic range was huge. Sometimes, I mean, with the whole orchestra playing, it was so quiet you could barely hear them. And then, of course, then as it would open up, the sound would just be, it was a very organic and very controlled, but very effective interpretation. Much different from some of the more famous ones that I know and love. But I was really impressed. Well, Friday night, we sang after the concert. There's a local brewery, a good one. It's getting quite a reputation in German Village, called Gemüt. And they were doing a beer tasting after the concert performances. So it was off on the side gallery. And what we thought would happen, what I certainly thought would happen, people, get their beer and they'd be walking around and drinking and talking to each other, and we'd be the kind of background music. They asked us to do kind of like lighter German and Austrian fare, which is one of the things America was quite good at. Germans call it Volkslieder, which means literally folk songs, but not in the sense of Pete Seeger, American stuff. I like that. And I just figured, we'd be kind of backgroundy music and stuff. But the moment that we started to sing, everybody just kind of moved back a little bit and stood and listened to the entire thing, like it was a performance. So immediately I looked over at Johannes and we agreed, we should change some of the songs we were going to do. Do some more, really kick them in the good stuff. More not serious, but more challenging. And there's maybe a dozen guys. Our chorus right now is around 35 or so. And we knew it was going to be a lower number, but they're good singers. They did a really great job.
Wow.
Saturday, we sang from the balcony again to the people as they were coming into the main gallery. And again, they didn't walk on. They stayed and listened to us singing up there the whole time. Most of them. People were taking pictures and watching, and then they just clapped and everything were done. And then we did the same thing with the music and Gemüt serving the beer afterwards on Saturday. Oh, and we got to hear the Mahler on Saturday, which was nice. But about a third of the way in, the executive director, huge, tall, thin guy, came over to me. I mean, you have to look up at him like that. He's 6.5 feet tall or something.
This is
really
tall.
I don't. No. This is the executive director.
Oh, the executive.
But he came over and he said to me, "The maestro's here, and would you be willing to introduce him?" And I said, "Sure." So I said, "Hey, everybody! The maestro's here!" Hey! And he came over and he was shaking the men, of course, hands and stuff. Then he stood behind me with the rest of them and listened to us sing.
Wow!
And we did a really good job. We had maybe another 6 guys with us, about 18 maybe, and did some fun pieces, some raucous pieces, some walking pieces, like walking in the mountains kind of thing, because Gustav Mahler was a big, mountain walking guy. So it was very successful. It was really so successful. The executive director actually talked to me afterwards, and he said, "This was great." He said, "I'd like to talk with you about maybe some future collaborative possibilities." So I'm not sure they're going to ask us to sing in the performances. They actually introduced us. They said the Columbus Miracle on Saturday when we were there before the concert started. And he said, "They're going to sing for you afterwards." But then he said, "No singing with the performance guys, okay?" So anyway, that kept me extra busy and kind of tired too. We put in some some hours on Friday and Saturday.
I guess so.
Anyway, it slowed me down getting the show done, but it's up, and very possibly it may possibly even be completely up on YouTube right now. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to look. But that, and then it was my birthday, which was nice, and Miss Laura gave me some nice gifts, simple things. We're very kind of quiet people and do things kind of privately, but it was nice. And I got a lot of Facebook messages from friends. When I woke up this morning, there was like 30, 35 of them from people elsewhere in the world where the 30th is already nearly kind of gone. So that was nice. It's nice to know that there's people that, care.
I'll have to put you in my musician's book. That's got all the birthdays.
Well, I'm good. I appreciate those names for today, but Arthur Rubinstein was born, I think, on the 28th.
28th, I think so.
And Mozart's 25th. So there's some
same month.
Good Aquarians. And named Mendelssohn is early February. He's Aquarian. So I'm in good company.
You're in very good company, I would say.
Not necessarily the same status, but
but you're still there.
Yeah.
So, are you looking forward to Monday?
Monday is 31, the 2nd of February?
Yeah.
Oh, teaching?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I lost my opera job in December that I'd been working there 10 years, but things are shifting there. And they've got things to deal with, but they had to let some people go. So it's been tough financially losing that money the last couple of months, but some people helped out, and I got some money in advance, and I got a new job.
Yeah.
I'm going to be teaching at the Powell Academy of Music in the Lewis Center branch up here north of me. And I've got already 3 students to meet this coming Monday.
Wow.
Evening. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, before we get started, I want to give the pitch for these guys.
These guys have got to come through and sponsor.
Yeah, one of these days. Yes.
We haven't asked them.
Yeah, I haven't thought about any new shtick for this advertising for Corey Super Piano Polish. Okay, just the fingerprints and handprints and whatever prints stand no chance against this. Use it at your discretion. It's great.
On footprints too.
Yeah, use footprints. As a matter of fact, this thing's running out pretty quick. I've had this thing for at least a couple of years. And that's using it every time I go to Von Mar. I always start by polishing the piano first. People just can't seem to keep their hands off a smoothly, shiny, polished piano.
Mm.
It just beckons the hands to see what's that feel like to touch such a smooth, clean surface. And of course, some of them have been eating popcorn, eating popcorn because they've got this popcorn stand in the mall, and everybody seems to like to go there. They've got something like maybe 10 different flavors of popcorn there.
Mm.
And so, but anyways, I'm glad that episode 0102 is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So this must make it 03. So, where would I like to start? Well, I'll tell you what. I know that we've covered quite a bit of material as far as movies, but there's a place I like to go revisit. So, for all of you ladies and gentlemen who've been with us for a while, and anybody new, we're going to go into PSI at the movies.
All right, here we go, guys.
Revisited.
Oh, okay. On Mississippi.
Yes. This is going to be interesting. You remember this movie? I think it was one of our first ones.
5 Mississippi. Oh, 6 Mississippi.
Yes, absolutely.
And 7 Mississippi.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to PSI at the movies, Revisited. Some of you may remember this movie. This is an old movie, Frank Borzage's I've Always Loved You,
Oh,
starring Philip Dorn and Catherine MacLeod. I'll bring it up. This is on VHS. I don't know if they've ever released it on DVD. They may have. Don't know for sure. It's a nice, luxurious little picture in the front, right there. Very significant because it's quite possibly one of the few performances on the soundtrack that Arthur Rubinstein agreed to do.
wow.
Yes, absolutely. Don't know if you remember what this is about, but Catherine MacLeod plays a young pianist who's discovered by a conductor who's played by Philip Dorn. And of course, Philip Dorn, being the famous conductor that he is, they decided to make him, okay, they don't have his name on here, but they gave him a Russian name. Don't remember what it was, though. Anyways, Catherine MacLeod plays a pianist, and she's basically raised on a farm and becomes a pianist. Her father was the one that gave her piano lessons. Now, I bring this forward to you because I visited a antique store on the way up to visiting my mother, and it was my first time in the store.
Looky there.
And I had to put this in the bag because it's so delicate.
Ooh,
Amazing.
wow.
Look at this. This is a souvenir piano album of the movie. It says here, souvenir album, classic piano gems from the Republic picture, I've Always Loved You. Transcribed for the average pianist by, never heard of this guy, Ludwig Flato, F-L-A-T-O. And it contains, let's see, Rachmaninoff Second Piano Concerto, Rachmaninoff's Prelude in C Sharp, Minor Prelude, Wagner's Liebestod, Beethoven's Sonata Appassionata, and Chopin's Ballade in G Minor.
Wow. The whole thing.
So, the whole thing, well, I wouldn't say it's the whole thing. Like I said, it's transcribed for the average pianist. So I did look through the thing. The thing is somewhat delicate. Now, if you want to look at this, don't breathe too heavy.
Okay.
I made that mistake.
Did you show it to me?
Yes, and my allergies kicked in.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, so here it is. I would imagine it had a cover at one time and it's gone. So this is basically the insides of it. This is what it looks like. This is, somebody tried to keep it together. This is all like coming off. It's Scotch tape, in case you're wondering. But like I said, it's transcribed by Ludwig Flato for the average pianist. Oh dear. Oh, there's even pictures. See? Pictures. Any other pictures in here? I think so. Boy. Oh, here's another one. This is at the audition, I think? Yeah. Maybe. I can't see upside down. See? Anything else in here? Oh, wow. Collage at the middle of the book. Anyways, there it is. Okay. You want to look?
Sure.
Okay, remember not to breathe too heavy or deep. It has dust. So, but anyways, yeah, I've seen the movie at least a good half dozen times. It's very melodramatic. Philip Dorn plays this conductor, and he's somewhat psycho. He's a bit of a playboy. So, there's points in the movie where he's seeing other women and gets chased and hunted down. So there's some comedic moments in the movie. Then at her debut with the orchestra and the conductor, things start to go a little bit awry. So for what reason, don't know.
I've never seen the film.
You've never seen the film? Okay. Well,
Looks great. I would say this is advanced intermediate arrangements.
Yeah, it's hard to say for the average pianist. If that was the average pianist back then.
This lady at all the pianists herself, does she look convincing? No.
Not really. I wouldn't say so. But there it is. Yes, I better keep this one in
You found
the
it
bag.
what, Finley or something?
I found it at Finley.
Wow. How much?
$1.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And it was underneath, a bunch of other papers that didn't seem to mean too much. There was photographs there. So I would imagine this belonged to a family that had been living in Finley, almost since, I don't know, the 20s.
When was the movie made?
That's a good question. Let me see. The movie, 1950s.
Yeah. Rubinstein was in the Second
Oh,
World
1946.
That soon, yeah.
Yeah.
Rubinstein was in London in the Second World War. He talks about that. He helped translate Polish things for the Brits when he was living there. And then shortly thereafter, he moved to the United States, and he bought a house in Beverly Hills. Really nice looking place. You ever see the video? You can watch it on YouTube, I'm sure. But I have it both in video cassette and DVD of the $1 Million Trio.
Oh.
So Rubinstein, Heifetz, and Piatigorsky. It's rather famous, this black and white film. And they're showing them rehearsing in Rubinstein's house.
Yeah.
He played some of the Mendelssohn G minor trio. And the gardeners are watching in from the window and stuff like that. But it was quite a nice house. He had a nice company in those days. Rachmaninoff had a place out there. And Heifetz and Piatigorsky lived out there in Southern California. Piatigorsky and Heifetz famously did these master classes together at USC when they were out there. And then Heifetz continued to teach master classes in Los Angeles for a number of years out there.
Somewhere at home, I have a video of him doing a master class. And he watches his students play, and the expression on his face is amazing. He stands there like this with his arms crossed, just listening. And he's not smiling. And then he'll go, and when he's not pleased, when he goes up, and he shakes his head. So it's funny because, then when he finally gives them, the hatchet, he comes up there, start over here. He just pulls out his violin, start here.
And I wonder if something like that, if they're acting for the camera at all, look, we want to see it do some, grimaces and some things, because you have to make it more dramatic on film and everything. Because I've read about Heifetz as a teacher.
Yeah.
And of course, it's very hard, strong, maybe even harsh, but the students in general said that he was actually usually pretty pleasant. And very businesslike about it.
Oh, yeah, very businesslike.
And then more recently, I'm not sure why the reason was, but Nathan Milstein was being written up in the news.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a anniversary of some sort connected with him, but I had no idea that he spent as much time in the States as he did, because he was fundamentally based in London. That was where his home was. And he more or less resided there and stayed there. But he was in the States a lot, and he did a lot of teaching. And they're very different people, very different playing, but extraordinary playing. I mean, you can listen to Heifetz play Bach, or you can listen to, but no, I was thinking of, who did I just call it? What was his name?
Milstein.
Milstein.
Yes.
Of course, I prefer Milstein's performances. I mean, those sonatas and partitas are famous. Amazing performances. I have it on LP. Now, of course, I have a DVD. But I remember when I was a member of, I think it was the RCA Record Club, or it could have been Columbia. I think I had memberships with both.
Yeah.
But either way, this multi-album arrived as one of the monthly things you get. I don't know who the manufacturer was, but it was Milstein. There's a picture of it. And then I listened to performances. wow. And his performance at the Chaconne is
Oh,
wonderful. But the interesting thing I read about him as a teacher was he was very affable and a very kind of nice guy. Sometimes he'd see the students in his hotel room wherever he was staying. And one guy who'd studied with him for a long period of time, amazing violinist. I think I sent you the article with the recordings.
Yep.
He did, I forget what it was, something very, was it Happy Birthday Variations?
Yeah, it was.
That he'd written for.
Yep.
Wildly difficult.
Yes,
you know?
it's crazy. Talk about Paganini.
I mean, that guy, I mean, he was a professional violinist. He taught somewhere, but
Yeah.
I didn't know his name.
Yeah.
But that's just like this iceberg thing.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of people in the iceberg you
Oh,
never
yeah.
heard of it. That doesn't mean that they couldn't really pull some major rabbits out of that. But he talked about, I'd go and sometimes Milstein would be in there on his sock feet and hadn't shaved. And there'd be open bottle of vodka and stuff. And we'd have their lessons like that. And he said,
Wow.
you know, he just presented, and he said sometimes it was a little surprising because when you saw him in public, he was a natty dresser.
Yeah.
You know, very, you know.
Yeah.
But when he saw him like in moments like that or at his home when he's just being him.
Yeah.
He said he's just like an ordinary schmo, you know. And,
I love it.
and he said, and he had, what was it?
Yeah.
I think he loved Westerns.
Oh, yeah?
If there's a Western on TV.
Like the spaghetti westerns?
Yeah, he
yeah.
watch that stuff and everything. It just seemed like a wonderful guy. It reminds me of a teacher and mentor that he's still alive, Norman Paolu. He was first violinist of the Priority Quartet. I've mentioned him many times. He was such an earthy man, you know, in his own way, but made music at such a high level. And he was very demanding, of course, but wonderful teacher and such a great heart and everything. He used to have a little sign that he had hanging inside his door, and he'd put it on the outside sometimes. And I noticed occasionally he'd piss off one of his students because it was an exceptionally beautiful day. Madison, Wisconsin is like a Scandinavian city, you know, it's cold, frozen half the year, all that kind of stuff. But when the sun comes out, people just go crazy.
Yeah.
University of Wisconsin owns a whole herd of cows because they have an agricultural school. They have to be milked every day. So there is a dairy store at the student union, and they sell ice cream from the cows. Wonderful ice cream. It's not like frozen balls. It's like more soft, almost like gelato-ish consistency. Anyway, every once in a while, and he took me a couple of times, I go, you know, knock on the door, and he says, I want to get some ice cream. You want to get some ice cream? And so you hang this little sign up, going for ice cream.
Gone for ice cream, yeah.
Anyway, so.
Well, anyways,
Congratulations.
yeah,
you know.
no kidding.
That's a lovely book. The
Yeah,
pictures and everything from the movie.
so, all black and white.
They still.
What?
Well, they don't quite do it like that.
What do you mean?
Well, with the movie industry and everything now. I mean, I know that like Disney has special books like kids play from, and there's pictures from the cartoons
you mean-
and things. But stuff like this, where they obviously the movie must have been somewhat effective, or that was merchandised as a way of you know selling the movie.
No, they still do stuff like that. I mean, you can get
Really?
piano scores of just about any movie, really.
Yeah.
Mostly the really popular ones that's been in the theaters for like a long time.
Yeah.
You can get Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah.
You can get Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
You can get Star Wars. You can get even some James Bond movies. I mean, the possibilities are all there. I mean, pretty much.
Cool.
I mean, Lord of the Rings. You can get music from Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, so I noticed my CD over here is back. The Opal CD, released by Opal, The Pupils of Leschetizsky.
Yeah.
You got a chance to listen to it?
I listened to the whole thing twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
And?
It's really interesting. There's a few names in there that you might not recognize, and then there's some very famous people who studied with Leschetizsky. His oldest, most famous student was Paderewski, who was already like in his later 20s, I think. And Leschetizsky told him at the time, he said,
like more like 30s.
yeah, he said, you're way too old now.
Oh, yeah.
But he'd already been working professionally, I think even teaching in Poland. But he went to study with Leschetizsky, but then of course he had a great career.
Oh, yeah.
But there's an English woman named Ethel Leschetizky.
Mm-hmm.
I think she could have been English-Polish or something.
Yeah.
Of course, Beno Mojsevich, Marc Hamburg, famous guy. Osip Gabrilowicz is probably one of the most famous. Paderewski is Ignaz Friedman. Frank LaForge, who I knew the name, but I never really heard his playing much. Then a woman I didn't know at all, Marie Novello, and then Leschetizsky himself. It's very interesting because they're all different pianists.
All very different.
And I mean, some of them, of course, temperamentally very different. But one thing they have in common, they all, no matter who they are, play with this gorgeous tone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, every case, it's always lovely to hear. This Ethel Leschetizky, she plays the 8th Hungarian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Wow,
that one was really different.
That lady could cut it. But then the next thing you hear, which is just astonishing, Beno Mojsevich playing the Perpetuum mobile of Weber.
Yeah.
It is so fast!
I
Oh my God!
Oh,
it's so fast,
yeah.
but so clean.
Yeah, it is.
Everything is so clean, and it's shaped really well. It's just, it's almost like if somebody recorded something and then somebody could maintain the pitch, but speed it up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which, of course, isn't the case. But he's more relative recent finding, I'd say in the last 20 years or something, but when we could get his stuff.
Yeah.
Because Mojsevich just wasn't gettable when we were young. I never had anything
you
like that.
never could.
But I think it's because he didn't come to the States very much, right?
Probably not.
I think he was very European based.
Yes, it was very European.
But even Rachmaninoff just, loved Mojsevich. He thought this right up there.
Rubinstein once said, he says, I defy anyone if they could listen to Beno Mojsevich and Misha Levitsky and try to tell the difference between the two. That's what he said in his memoirs.
I think some of the memorable stuff was Mojsevich.
Yeah.
And then I've not heard much of Marc Hamburg, but he was very important and famous pianist. Didn't he take some lessons with Liszt at all, or is that he's not the one? Maybe it wasn't.
I don't know.
I don't know if it was him, and despite his name, he was Russian.
Yeah.
He was a child prodigy, and he happened to be in Paris as a youngster.
Yeah.
Played the piano, and Paderewski heard him.
Yeah.
And Paderewski said, "I want you to go study with Leschetizsky." Well, our family didn't have that kind of money. Paderewski gave him the money. Sent him to Leschetizsky.
That's nice.
And then he made his debut at 16 years old, playing the Hungarian Fantasy with orchestra.
Oh, that's
because I forget who the female pianist. It was Leschetizky's wife. Not the American name, but she didn't marry him anyway. I forget her name.
Esipov?
No, before that.
Before that one.
The earlier one. He had a few. But anyway, she was scheduled and she couldn't play. Something was going on. So he told Hamburg, he said, why don't you play it? And so he was 16 years old and he debuted with the Berlin Philharmonic, who were visiting Vienna and played it with him. And it just caused a furor. Everybody was so excited about it and everything. But it's a really interesting, he played Scarlatti, Gambatti, the famous Orfeo melody, and the last movement of Opus 2 No. 3 Beethoven, and then the Strauss-Tausig, the Kiss Waltz.
Yes.
It's a real interesting variety of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things. So the tone is always beautiful, and the playing is very clean.
Yeah.
But then the personalities happen, And his Beethoven.
Yes.
It's maybe that's the way some people played it at that time, but it's not Schnaubelesque.
No, it's definitely not.
It's actually like nothing that I would think of as Beethoven playing that we've come to know. And I mean, there's a lot of people who play Beethoven, and we have historic recordings.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
And it's fast.
Oh, it's very fast.
You
Yes.
know, but there's a certain kind of vibrato or something in it that's a little funny. Now, what's interesting to me is that Paderewski plays Chopin, and then after him is Ignaz Friedman. Friedman plays the Nocturne in E flat, 55 number 2.
Yeah.
Again, there's even a richer sound in the tone and the rubato that's there that Friedman's famous for, but it's so organic.
Yeah.
And Hamburg's very impressive. And I mean, all of them are impressive. Mozart's is impressive, but just in terms of the presence and the tone and the musicianship, and I think Friedman outshines everybody. There's this guy named Frank LaForge who plays the D-flat Nocturne, which ends up also being what Theodore Leschetizsky himself plays.
Yeah.
Very good performances. Leschetizsky could play the piano.
Oh yeah, you sure can.
Yeah.
You sure can.
There's a whole bunch of his music. I've got some of it. I played one of his nocturnes.
Yeah.
On that nocturne show I did in the Mintercore series.
The guy can compose too.
Yeah. How do people like that find the time? I mean, all that music that he wrote, and then the guy was the world's leading piano teacher.
Yeah.
He was busy all the time.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much. That was
You're very welcome.
very ear-opening and very
Yes.
satisfying.
Wow. So, would you like to open your ears more?
Sure.
Okay. So we're leaving PSI at the movies for now. But I found this in the archives. I don't know if I brought this in before. There it is. I don't think I have. I brought in a CD collection, but this is a new one for me.
But you've had it.
I've had it.
You just forgot you
I
had it.
forgot I had it. So cleaning up. So in a lot of ways, I'm still, scraping this iceberg. But this is a Joseph Hoffman CD.
Ooh.
My goodness. And I spent a week listening to this thing, and it just comes to show, it gave me all the reasons back why I listened to this guy. The program on this thing is amazing. Here, let me show it to you. It's released by VAI, and guess whose names are on it? Ward Marston.
Yeah, of course.
And Gregor Benko.
They've been Ward Marston. They've been through Marston Records, releasing a series of Joseph Hoffman recordings.
Well, this one's no less amazing. I must have gotten this years ago.
Oh wow, cool! The acoustic Brunswick recording.
But look what's on it. Look at this program. There's Wagner on the CD.
Oh,
It's the fire music from the Valkyries by Wagner.
Well, it starts off with hyphenated.
Yeah.
Scarlatti Tausig with Brahms, Beethoven, Rubinstein. And then there's a Rubinstein melody in F, and then Hoffman's Nocturne.
Yeah.
Plays a couple of Rachmaninoff pieces, then Wagner Bratzen, the fire music.
Fire music.
When he starts the fire to protect Brunhilde.
Yeah.
Puts her to sleep. Right? At the end of Valkyrie, puts her to sleep. Some Chopin. The Meine Freude, Meine Beschotke, My Joy, some Chopin Liszt. And he has some Liszt in here. I would really like to hear it. What I love about Hoffman's recording or his playing, I mean, nothing is difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is just fluid, but not boring fluid.
Oh.
And extremely well articulated.
Oh, yeah.
To the point, like, there's a really famous recording, I bet you can find it on YouTube. If I can, I'll look it up and see if I can lead you to it by way of the address. Of Beethoven Fourth Concerto that he recorded live with the Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Orchestra. And the amazing thing is, whoever did the miking and stuff did a gorgeous job with the piano. It's not this kind of old, kind of like you listen it outside the room kind of thing.
Hissy.
Acoustic recording. The mic is really well placed with the piano, but you can hear everything well. It's not stereo though, but the scale, the playing in the Beethoven, he doesn't seem to use the pedal.
No, he doesn't.
It's a lot of the playing is free of any pedal.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible legato, but clarity and all that. I mean, Horowitz had who were they? The three pictures of pianists he had up in his room: Rachmaninoff, Hoffman, and Paderewski. Those were the three pianists that he deigned to put up on his wall.
Wow, Toscanini's not up there, is he?
Well, no, famously, it's just those three pianists on that one wall. And Toscanini could have been elsewhere. I mean, Wanda was all over the house. Or whatever.
Oh.
Can't get away from Toscanini. They even hauled away Horowitz's corpse and put it in Toscanini vault when he died. So, but Hoffman, I mean, it's really amazing. Paderewski is a very interesting pianist. There was something very heroic in his sound.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and big, you know, and sometimes people would say, especially because by the time that he could make recordings, he was pretty old, getting near the end of his career. There's a famous movie that he's in where the audience, it was set, it was staged in a way, but he plays the Second Rhapsody, right?
Second Rhapsody. I don't know the movie, though.
I don't remember it. I'll see if I can find the name of it. But Paderewski maybe wasn't always the cleanest, but it is true. The playing that I've heard of his, there's a very big, noble sound.
Yeah.
It's big. It's like, it's kind of interesting because it's not the same, but it's almost like he had that certain kind of big Polish quality like Rubinstein.
Yeah.
Although Rubinstein says very specifically that he, you know, famously, first book he went to visit with Paderewski in Switzerland, took some lessons. Yeah. And heard him practicing and stuff, and Rubinstein just gives his frank opinion, but he's not meaning to be rude or anything.
No, he's not.
He said we're just very different musicians and pianists and stuff.
He says, well, the one detail he did say, the most important detail about Paderewski's playing was his sense of charisma. His charisma at the piano, even on stage, which was basically a born gift for him. Seems like it appeared to be a born gift for Paderewski, because later on he says, Rubinstein says, charisma is something that you can't buy.
Right.
You know, and he says it's given to very few musicians, and Paderewski seems to have oodles of that, which makes him not just a great pianist, but also a great orator.
Yeah.
So, which is why he became Prime Minister of Poland eventually.
Paderewski, in his own way, in his field, in his time, was like a Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
In terms of the fame and the money that he made.
Yes.
Boy.
Yeah. His name is still mentioned in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Really?
As being one of the most high-paid classical musicians.
Yeah. In terms of what he was paid in his time.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus what, for example, Van Cliburn was paid in his time. I think Paderewski still made more money.
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, he, later on, you know, he did use that money to help rebuild his country.
You know, I always wondered, like, with Liszt.
Yeah.
He traveled for 10 years as a concert artist.
Oh yeah.
In a horse and buggy kind of stuff. Carriage, you know. From Moscow to London and everywhere else. Sweden down to Istanbul and all that. The guy had to have made quite a bit of money.
Oh yeah.
Because he lived well in his life. He went where he wanted to. He had different places where he lived and worked. But I just wondered, how much did he make? It'd be kind of interesting to see if anybody ever did research to see some of the great ones. What was their life income? You know, what did they have? What did they make? Because Liszt always seemed to have money to give to people for big projects, like when they did the Beethoven Monument in 1870. Right? He contributed to that, and he helped people. Like after I forget what it was, but there was some kind of recovery money that was necessary in Hungary, and he sent a whole pile of money to Hungary, things like that. I think he also contributed to the Schumann Memorial after he died.
Well, according to sources I've read, they said he was so busy in his entire life that it's enough to fill up 5 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Constantly concertizing, composing. He hardly slept. He hardly ever slept. Teaching.
Then he became the Kapellmeister in. I'd say that's where he was teaching. No. Not Wiesbaden. What's the wine country? Weimar. Yeah, he was an actual Kapellmeister.
Yeah.
And there's famous etching pictures of the huge hall.
Oh, yeah.
The huge audiences and the orchestra stuff. He did, I don't think it was the premiere, but he did famously Lohengrin and Tannhäuser when he was music director.
Yeah, he did.
And that was the place where he kind of started the whole Musik der Zukunft, the music of the future kind of movement. So, anyway.
It's definitely that.
Well, that I would be interested in hearing.
Okay, yeah, especially that Wagner thing.
That'd be cool.
All right, you ready for more?
Yeah.
I've really been cleaning up, folks. Hopefully I'll get it organized. I don't know if I ever brought this in. This is a recording of Leopold Godowsky's works.
Oh.
And this is something we should talk about one of these days.
These are his works.
These are his work. He's not the pianist. The pianist is one Carlo Grante. Grante.
See if I can find his picture and bio.
Yeah. Now, I seem to recall years ago, so you're talking maybe early mid-'80s, that I read a magazine article, I don't know if it was on Clavier magazine, that he had his project was, the pianist was going to record the complete works of Leopold Godowsky.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if that ever happened, but he is the first one, Carlo Grante, to record all of the Chopin Godowsky etudes.
Wow.
So he did it before Marc-Andre Hamelin did.
I'll look him up because anybody that plays Godowsky's music
is insane.
Is a special category pianist.
It's insane.
I mean, in this day and age, one name that comes to mind is Marc-Andre Hamelin, for example.
Yeah.
That kind of a pianist that can
Earl
pull
Wild
that
did
stuff
it.
off.
Earl Wild did it. Abby Simon did it.
Who's the Cuban guy?
The Cuban guy?
Tall fellow. George Bollett.
George Bollett did it, yeah.
He studied with Godowsky.
Yeah, he did.
He studied
David Saperton, his son-in-law. His son-in-law recorded some of the Chopin Godowsky etudes. Reading the biography, I did not know this, but apparently one of Leopold Godowsky's sons married the sister of George Gershwin, Frances. Frances. It was in the biography. But this is an interesting, by the way, anyways, I'm getting off the subject, but the program on this is amazing. It's got 12 Schubert song transcriptions, and the final track, 13, is the Passacaglia.
Wow.
Based on the theme from Schubert's Unfinished Symphony.
I played some Godowsky. When I did a concert in Bayreuth, I played, there's a collection of pieces that he called Renaissance music.
Yeah.
It was French and Italian composers from later than the Renaissance, actually.
Yeah.
It's more like early 18th century.
Yeah.
But I played...
Did you play La Tomberound?
No. Well, I have played certain things. Yeah. But I can't think of the titles right now. But one that I do actually in a video, the Minicore video, the Christmas one, is the Arcangelo Corelli Pastoral from the Christmas music.
Yeah.
And I think it was a Rameau piece originally. I have to say I could do it.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Godowsky, I don't know what size hands he had and everything, but at least in the stuff that I've looked at and tried, it's not like Rachmaninoff. There's certain things, or Charles Alcon.
Yeah.
There's just certain guys they had, or even, what's his name, César Franck?
Yeah.
You got to roll with stuff, because these guys had massive expanses.
Yeah.
But Godowsky's music isn't written like that. What's really extraordinary about his music is all the stuff that goes on inside, and in some cases, like when he does those Chopin etudes where he combines two etudes together. That's the remarkable thing, is that, I mean, a lot of piano playing, now, originally, let's say like with Bach, all of that stuff are independent voices, right?
Yeah.
And you got to really do it so you can bring them all out, right? But then music moves from the classic and through the romantic period, where you have a mostly more sense of dominant hand and a hand filling in color and harmony and stuff. Godowsky is still, it's very colorful and all this and that, everything else, but it goes back to this highly individualized, complex voice writing. That makes it difficult, like a 4 or 5 voice fugue of Bach. And yet it's even more ridiculously difficult than that.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Carlo Grante, I remember reading an interview with him. He talked about recording the Chopin Godowsky etudes, and he says just working on a single etude was a real pain. He says he spent as much work on a single etude as he would a concerto, is what he said. He says, with the amount of time he worked on a single etude, you may as well just worked on a concerto. That was how hard it was. So
Godowsky ended up in America, and he was interestingly up in Buffalo. So he was teaching right up there at the
he was
New England
teaching
Conservatory.
he was.
So I don't know quite so what he was doing. I have a really good biography of Godowsky that's written by Mark Twain's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Maybe you want to grab it or not, but it's kind of a cool book. But honestly, I'm a little vague about some of his history. I don't know it so well, but the guy was prolific with his compositions. There's a lot of stuff. And then I have some old, one of those magazines we love so much, the Etude magazine, where he actually regularly made contributions as almost like a column, where he would include a piece of music, often it was his own, and the pianist, they would have the piece of music, and then they would have commentary about how to interpret it or deal with some problems and things. The guy was incredibly busy.
Oh, they were all busy.
And I suppose he did the hardest work when he was young. And, once it's here, it stays, You can do other things. But, the really cool thing is, Leopold Godowsky, or was it Hoffman or Godowsky? I think it was Godowsky.
Okay.
I'll find out for sure and correct myself if I need to, but I think it was Godowsky. Who got Henry Ford to put the windshield wipers on the car.
It was Hoffman.
It was Hoffman.
It was Hoffman.
So it was Hoffman. How to put the windshield wipers on the car and then time them so how they would work by observing a metronome.
Metronome, that was
tick,
Hoffman.
Tick, tick, tick. And he had a new car. And they didn't have wipers early on. So it was murder in the rain. Because it wasn't even like, we have like graded screens now. They were up and down, and if it was raining, you couldn't see.
You couldn't see.
And he thought, tick, tick, tick. And he told him, and he said, well, that's a very interesting idea. I don't know if Hoffman got credit for the patent.
Well, according to him, he has several patents. He came up with some different, he came up with quite a few inventions. And he got patents for all of them. So
good for him.
So great for him. Now, the funny thing is, I just noticed this just now, but we have Godowsky and Joseph Hoffman here on the same episode. The only one missing, really, is Joseph Levine. I remember hearing from Earl Wild how the three of them would hang out at the bar across the street, and after they've tied one on and played a few tunes on the broken down piano that's in the corner, they'd be arguing things about the music and stuff. But could you imagine being in the same bar as these three? Oh my goodness. Anyways, apart from that, back to Godowsky. Passacaglia is actually the last work he ever wrote. He considers it the most important work since the sonata that he had composed. The sonata is a 5-movement work, and it's actually dedicated to his wife. It's E minor.
I don't know the work.
It's a monstrous work. I don't know it either, but somewhere at home I have
one of the great works that I heard performed actually by my teacher was in Madison. Howard Karp was a pianist.
Yeah.
And Vartan Manoukian,
Yeah.
who had one time been the concertmaster for Ernst Ansermet with the Swiss Romande. They did the second sonata of Busoni. Oh, not Godowsky. But I think Busoni's in there kind of not doing away with it. So I got, that's an accidental stepping off. Thanks, but same period, same amazing pianist. And all that.
There's an interesting story I know about Godowsky and Hoffman. Hoffman was visiting Godowsky at his house, and Godowsky, as usual, he was composing a transcription of Strauss's Die Fledermaus, and he was just sort of playing around on the piano, and Hoffman came in, and he sat there for a couple hours, watching him improvise and watching him write down notes and stuff, and they just talked while he composed. Well, apparently Hoffman had a concert later that evening.
Yes.
He goes out to
Heard this
perform,
story.
and he comes out after his final number and does an encore. It winds up being the transcription of the Fledermaus, and Godowsky's sitting there in the audience going, "Bastard! I haven't even finished writing it yet."
Incredible, isn't it? I just realized it. I do have a great Godowsky biography.
You do?
But Mark Twain's daughter is Clara Clemens, because of Samuel Clemens. She was married to Osip Gabrilowitsch.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's actually a book about Gabrilowitsch, about her husband.
Oh, okay.
And he was the director of the Detroit Symphony, right?
Yeah.
So they were up there. I got that all mixed up.
Gabrilowitsch, Cincinnati.
Really?
Yeah, he was the director of Cincinnati, and when he wanted to leave for another post, they offered the post of conductor to Rachmaninoff, who turned it down.
Oh. Wow.
So, yeah.
It's a great period of time. People, the golden age of the piano.
Yes.
Incredible pianists, incredible talent.
Yeah.
And
not just
an incredible period for the manufacture of pianos.
Yeah.
Some of the finest pianos between 1890 and 1929 at the time of the Depression. Amazing.
It's interesting to note. I remember reading Earl Wild's memoirs. He says, the difference between pianists today and pianists of the golden age. He says, that the pianists that he grew up with were at least transcribers.
Yeah.
They did a lot of that when he was growing up.
Yeah.
Today we don't encounter that. Maybe pianists who can improvise, which is wonderful. I would not be surprised if someday if they ever decide to raise the bar on piano competitions, they add a category
Improvisation.
Yeah, because they do with the organists.
Yeah.
In the organ competitions, there's the round of competition where they ask them to improvise. So pianists, mark my words, you never know what's going to come up in about 10, 15 years from now about piano competition. We've been doing the exact same thing for decades now. Something has to give. Even the Van Cliburn competition did away with the chamber music round. They replaced the chamber music round with a Mozart concerto round, is what they did. So, you never know.
I'm thinking the possibility for that. Maybe a couple things. Why did it begin to be that pianists are always just playing other composers' music?
Yeah.
I think it's because even well into the beginning of the 20th century, in a sense, Schliemann creating a kind of the realistic field of archaeology by digging up Troy.
Yeah.
It had such a profound effect on modern culture because we became truly interested in the past.
Yeah.
And excavating these things and trying to interpret them and stuff became this fascination for, I guess, finding out who we were, what we believed, what we thought. There's a lot of misunderstandings that are constantly being reinterpreted, even today. But I think two things. But there was a big emphasis on new music.
Mm-hmm.
But new music was fundamentally created in a very accepted universal language.
Mm-hmm.
So, from, let's say, Beethoven's time into the early 20th century, for example, Rachmaninoff was still writing in a way that was considered in his time a little old-fashioned.
Oh yeah.
Because by then you had some serious new stuff. I mean, Rachmaninoff was writing what he was writing, and the second Viennese school of Schoenberg and Berg, those guys, had already happened, or was happening. So when you think about it, like in Mozart's time, why are there so many symphonies? Why are there so many concerti? Well, because it was all about new music.
Yeah.
Nobody was interested in hearing last week's stuff.
Right.
When there's something new. And I think that continued in certain kind of ways, at least until there's more emphasis on the past. Like, I don't know why now, but there are always, and some of it always has to do with money, new commissions, new compositions and things that are presented by certainly some of the big symphony orchestras, but a lot of people play Beethoven, a lot of people play Tchaikovsky, when you look at the early 20th century, a lot of those European conductors who were leading the American symphonies at the time, Tchaikovsky is a really good example. Eugene Ormandy was too.
Yeah.
Lots of contemporary music,
Yeah.
new music.
Yeah.
Something happened where we got a little bit in the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
And I also think that the other thing that has affected us is the development of recording technology that can reproduce other performances.
Yeah.
I mean, there were things going on. You can still hear Brahms talking, maybe playing on an old Edison thing or something. And the farther back you go, Marston's bringing even more amazing stuff that was actually recorded. But if you think about it, there's very little Ferruccio Busoni, for example. There's some piano rolls, Belta Mignon stuff. I don't think there's any acoustic.
I don't know if there is. I don't think so.
So, like with Liszt and all his song transcriptions and everything, some of the music he was presenting, it was like jukebox stuff.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people that never could hear a live Beethoven symphony.
Yeah.
So he wrote it for solo piano.
Exactly.
And he could share all this music that he was passionate about and loved with people who would not ordinarily get a chance to hear it. So I think it may be somehow us focusing even more on the past and the fascination with it, where human beings really have done that in general. Everybody was looking to the next thing forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Egyptians were famous when a new pharaoh came on. If he was especially egocentric, he'd destroy all the stuff from his predecessor or predecessors, or put his face on stuff and take it over. Everything has changed in I think a wonderful way. Our show is based upon contemporary culture and how fascinated we are with things from the past. I mean, we talk about some newer stuff.
Absolutely.
Wernick, which is relatively newish.
Oh yeah, he's still alive.
But I'd say both of us, our hearts are really in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All the great stuff that has happened. And just not wanting to forget it because there's such wonderful
and we
stuff.
can't. We really can't. I mean, pianist Cyprian Katsaris, says that the average pianist really only knows 10-15% of the repertoire that's actually available for pianists.
Well, and the sad thing about that is that the listening audience and what's expected and what's thought of, you got to test yourself against what everybody else has done, reduces the amount of repertoire that is in the standard body of stuff that a pianist can play, because what people will pay to hear.
Yes. Exactly.
I mean, one of the reasons that Van Cliburn kind of retired more than once from the stage, he got sick and tired of, one, he wanted to play chamber music. Nobody wants to hear you play chamber music, which is one of the reasons why he put it on his competition. Because he thought a great pianist should be able to play with other musicians in an intimate way very well. And he also wanted to play solo performances. There are some amazing solo recordings of things he did, but most of the time he was hired to play concerti, and everybody wanted to hear the Tchaikovsky or the Rachmaninoff Third. To some extent, the Grieg was very fashionable at the time. and Beethoven Emperor, and those are all recorded. He has them, but he just got sick and tired after a decade, and reduced to be playing maybe 10 different concerti at best.
Yeah.
That's all they wanted him to play.
Wow.
They played him really well for it, but he just kind of thought there's nothing there, and you see it in the training of students and things and what they aspire to do. It's always the same repertoire. There's certain polonaises of Chopin, certain Hungarian rhapsodies of Liszt. Liszt wrote 16 of them or more. Hungarian rhapsodies. There's 18.
19.
19, you're right.
19.
But everybody knows the second and the sixth.
The sixth.
Those
Yeah.
are the two biggies, right?
Yeah.
And the 12th, maybe, and the Bukowski March.
Yeah,
possibly.
that one's 15, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12 and 15, maybe. So I got to a point where I'd done the competition and all the really basic repertoire. You have to do that when you're getting your degrees, because it's a way that they can measure you against the standard and everything. Yeah. But there came a point where I just started to look into the repertoire, and I played more of the expected stuff in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, I just pull out some other things. Sometimes same composers, but stuff people didn't know or hadn't heard. And in some cases, just things that I discovered. And one of my favorite things were pianist-composer compositions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we started out the conversation like with these guys. There's some wonderful things that,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I've tried. I'll never do it in public. But the Sanctuary,
The Sanctuary.
for example, or Kaleidoscope of Joseph Hoffman.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is we have him playing them.
Yeah. That's great.
Well, that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
But also then you put it to comparison with him.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Kaleidoscope, one of the reasons it's so hard is because, Kaleidoscope, you change the glass just a little bit. Every time, and just like, what are they, 32nd or 64th notes?
Yep.
Yeah. And every time it comes down, there's slight changes. It goes back up, and then there's another change, and another change going up.
Yep.
My
Gosh.
God.
What a pain in the butt.
It's so hard to keep, because there's literally probably more than 50 notes in one measure.
Yep.
With the hands together, and then you go back up, and it's not even sequential. It's just like a little change here or there, which changes the harmony a little bit. It's a gorgeous piece of music. The Kaleidoscope of
Joseph Hoffman,
which was actually written under the name Michael
Dvorsky.
Yeah, he didn't use his original name.
Yeah, don't know why. I was thinking, with Godowski's Schubert transcriptions here, I think it would be interesting to do a comparison.
His versus Liszt, you mean?
His versus Liszt, but also Rachmaninoff.
Rachmaninoff
did it too.
Wonderful thing.
Who would? Because the funny thing is, when Godowski, I don't know if you ever listened to the Schubert transcription.
I know some of them.
It sounds like Godowski.
Oh, of course.
But when you listen to Rachmaninoff, it sounds like Rachmaninoff.
Yeah. The Brook is one of my favorites.
Yeah, the Brook. Yeah. Even Liszt. Some of it actually sounds more idiomatically Schubert, but when he finally lets loose with something like the Earl King or something, that's Liszt. That's definitely Liszt. So even the Trout song transcription.
But it should be that way.
Does,
I mean, there are sometimes pieces that are maybe contrived to be as purely the original piece in transcription.
Yeah.
I'm not always that interesting, because in some cases things don't translate well.
No,
remember, like the last show I was talking about how Mahler there are Mahler reductions for the piano, but Mahler never sounds on the piano like it does in the original symphonic form.
Yeah.
And another composer I think who does not sit well on the piano, even though he wrote things himself, although a lot of it are songs that were with orchestra that are reduced for piano. And serious concert performance. Berlioz. Berlioz does not sit on the piano very well, I don't think.
No?
No.
Have you heard the Symphonie Fantastique by Liszt?
Well, and yet, but that's my point. That's my point. You got to have somebody with real imagination.
Yeah.
Beginning, especially with Liszt. He was the first great transcriber.
Yeah.
Liszt really, in a way, precedes by 40 years at least Schliemann. But what he was doing was presenting old music to the audiences sometimes. His recitals, though, when you really study them historically, very different from a modern recital. Yeah, I mean, I played a bunch of Schubert transcriptions of Liszt. I think it was some of them I might have done with Howard, but yes, I did. I did some Wagner Liszt transcriptions with Howard, and I did a bunch of Schubert stuff with Ellsworth. They're wonderful.
Oh, they're absolutely great.
And they're hard as the dickens sometimes.
Yeah, they are.
And I played the original Schubert arrangements. Most of which are doable. The Earl Koenig is just a pain in the ass to play because it's all this repetitive note on the same notes. So you got to hope you have not a stiff piano and a quick action. So that it comes back and you don't kill your wrists and your arms. Earl Koenig is a killer. I when people ask me to play it, I would not practice it the way you play it in performance. I go da-ga-da-da-ga-da or something, just make it up to save myself in practicing so we could do it together. But I also had some stipulations. I said, if the piano turns out to be a tank, I'm not going to play it because you can really hurt yourself.
Oh, yeah, you sure could.
It was written for forte piano, which is a whole different ballgame. But then on top of it, this is he puts it in octaves.
That's like putting a salt on the wound.
Oh, and then when the boy's about to die and the devil's, carrying him off, all hell breaks loose. And there's stuff jumping all over the keyboard. But that's what makes it interesting because in a sense, I don't know how to put this. I'm not a Christian per se, but I would put it in a biblical sense. This is not just reading the text from the Bible. It's actually paying more attention to someone who's thought a lot about the text and comments on it. Like Bible commentary. Sometimes the Bible, depending, which one it is, is the Bible, right? But then there's volumes of commentary about it, right? And these guys are commenting on the original works. That's what he says. But except I don't even know for sure. I think he's doing stuff like that now. I doubt it's 100% lost art, but it's a very underutilized art form nowadays.
Oh, transcriptions?
Like of this sort.
It is.
Well, and we also, probably because of our historical way of looking back at things, we become purists about stuff. Like Yun Chan Lin playing the Chopin Etudes, which is a revelation. I've heard a couple of them people put up, but some people, for example, the Godowsky Chopin Etudes, some people really put their nose up at that stuff. They don't like it, and they think it's abomination.
We have those.
But that was just part of the brilliance and the lucidity of these guys who could just go into other dimensions and other levels.
No kidding. Hey, have you ever seen Marc Andres Hamlin's etude transcription of the 3 Chopin etudes put together?
No.
Oh, it's amazing! Really? He comes out. He does it for an encore. He comes out on stage, and he's staying there. He's smiling like the cat that swallowed the canary, and he says, "Okay, ladies and gentlemen," he says, "I'm about to commit suicide." Everybody just laughs, and he explains this etude. He says, "I've been able to." He says, "I've composed a etude transcription of 3 Chopin etudes at one time." He said, and what he did was he did the chromatic etude. And the Winter Wind etude. And the etude in thirds.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing.
Is it on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. Check it out.
I'll find it and put the address up there. I was thinking,
it's amazing.
Marc Andre Hamlin, he's Canadian. I thought when I read his biography, it reminded me of Charles Ives. Charles Ives didn't just like come out of the womb and think, I'm going to do all this crazy crap.
Yep.
His father had a huge influence on him
Yeah.
with his training. And his father was even experimenting with this idea of creating these completely catastrophic combinations of sound events. You know? Charles got a lot of support and ideas and stuff from his father.
Oh yeah,
And Marc-Andre Hamelin's father was a kind of weird guy.
Yeah, he was.
He was writing music, and I don't know if he played the piano or what, but very challenging kind of stuff. And then Mark was just raised in an environment like, yeah, it's normal.
Yeah,
It's okay.
sure was. Oh boy, those were crazy times. So, let me see. What do I have here? I think I have more. I'm not sure. Oh, here we go. Is that it? Okay. Folks, new segment here. Most of you will know about it. It's I introduced PSI's All Pieces Considered. Maybe next time, boys.
They got to wear hats. Just see, they got to wear hats in the last show.
No, well, I can't wait.
Everybody's
All right.
wearing hats.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PSI's All Pieces Considered. You're typing again.
Oh,
Yeah, there it goes. All right, so I bring to you a piano composition by Edward MacDowell, American composer. Interestingly enough, few facts, unknown facts about MacDowell. Maybe some of you know him, but he believed in composing every day. It should be like, for composers, should practice composing every day as much as a pianist practices at the piano.
Rachmaninoff did that.
Yeah.
His mornings would start out with paper and coffee, and he practiced exercises on the piano.
Yeah.
Then he would spend 2 or 3 hours at the desk writing music until lunchtime. And after lunchtime, he'd go back to the piano, and then he'd practice piano.
Boy, that's a regiment. But another story is the work To a Wild Rose.
Yeah. Da da da, dee da da,
Yeah.
dee da 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 da.
I didn't know this, but Elvis actually sang a song arrangement with that.
Really?
Yeah, somewhere there. I forgot about that. I heard it as
Wow.
a kid. I haven't heard it since until somebody started playing it on the radio someplace. But anyways, To a Wild Rose. He actually didn't like the work. And so he didn't think it was very important. So he crumpled up the paper and threw it in the waste paper basket.
That's right. And his wife.
Was doing some
Pulled it
cleaning
out.
up, pulled it out of the waste paper basket and asked, "Why are you throwing this away?"
He's really nice.
So,
This is like one of those kids, like with Rachmaninoff, the C sharp minor prelude.
yeah,
I wish I'd never written this piece of music.
yeah. He probably didn't call it music. Can you imagine that with a Russian accent?
Yeah.
This piece of. Well, I don't know what it is. How do you say that word in Russian?
Well, we can't say because that would offend the Russian people. Maybe.
Yeah, it probably would.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, anyways, what I have here is actually a transcription of Edward MacDowell's.
Oh.
This is okay, I'll just read it right off the page. It's a jig for harpsichord by Karl Heinrich Graun. Transcribed for pianoforte by Edward MacDowell. The sucker's in B flat minor. Here, you can take a look.
Oh.
Nice cover, too. So, Karl Heinrich Graun, born 1704, died in 1759. He's a German composer / tenor. He's a singer. He was mainly a composer of operas. Some of them you might know. He wrote Caesar and Cleopatra, and he also wrote an opera Montezuma, and here is a cantata Der Tod Jesu. As far as instrumental works, he's written a concerto for horn, strings, and cembalo. He has written a symphony in C major, a concerto for viola da gamba. He's even written a harpsichord concerto in C minor. And this thing, a G in B flat minor. Interesting, huh? Now I've never seen the score to the G in B flat minor by Ground, but I look at this work and it's got Edward MacDowell plastered all over it. It reeks of MacDowell, put it that way.
I'd say it's advanced intermediate in my mind. It's not terribly difficult.
No, it's not bad.
It's very cleanly written.
Same
Yeah.
chords, bigger chords.
Yeah.
Look how big the score is.
Wonderful.
Look how big it is.
In those days,
Back
they
in
still
those
had a lot
days.
of trees to cut down.
Yeah, look at this. How big the score is. Maybe we should do a comparison. Let me see if I can find. I have another. Okay, this is from last week. This is the Richard Wernick Sonata. Okay. Look at the size comparison. Look at the size comparison. What's this?
Well,
This is
look
the Wernick Sonata.
look at the
This
size
is the
comparison
MacDowell.
of the typical upright piano in the late 19th century versus the ones most
Yeah.
now.
There, take a good look at it. Wow. Oh, but anyways, I don't remember where I got this composition, but I always thought it was an interesting one to bring in. You said it was advanced intermediate?
I think so.
Yeah, I'd say it is too.
I wouldn't say it's intermediate, but it's, you're getting there. It's not nearly as complicated as, some of the fugues from Bach's Welting for Clavier. It's a little more straightforward. I mean, Ground, but it reminds me more of French music. It's a jig anyway,
Yeah.
which is based upon the French school.
Yeah.
It's not as complicated as some of Bach's jigs.
Yeah. It would make a great encore, if anything.
Yeah.
Okay, the other piece I brought in, and this one's brings back some memory. I think I found this one at one of my visits to the book sale at the Upper Arlington. This is a scherzo, an homage to Prokofiev
Oh.
by one Harold Zabrak. I don't know if this guy's still alive, Harold Zabrak, but he did come to Columbus.
Oh.
He did come to Columbus. He did a composer's workshop over at Graves.
Yeah, this is written in 1967.
Yeah. So, anyways, Harold Zabrak, I did go to his composer's workshop. Several people came in with compositions. I did not. If anything, what I noticed from the workshop, most of the pieces were for piano. And what he kept saying emphasizing was, put this in a different register. Don't stay in the same range on the piano. Some of them were playing pieces, had composed pieces just in the middle register. And he kept pointing out, well, bring this up here. Bring that one down here. Bring the hands apart. Bring them together. Here, up here, down here. Anything that could give it more range. He was a composition professor at one of the Ivy League schools. It was either Yale or Harvard. I don't remember which one.
I'll look up some information about it. See what it is. It is very Prokofiev looking.
Yes, it is very Prokofiev
It
looking.
starts
It
out
sounds like it too.
in the left hand looking like it's based in E minor without the F sharp and the keys of the drum.
Exactly.
And then the melody is such that it looks like it's in B flat minor.
Yeah.
Ish. And there's some chromaticism involved, but the melodic statements usually are in the B flat minorish kind of centered area, and they come in the middle material that goes to the other key.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of chromaticism
Yes.
in some ways. It looks, and I think sounds in my head very Prokofiev-like, but I think it's effective. You tried to play it?
Yes, I have. It reeks of Prokofiev's Suggestion Diabolique.
Yeah, yes.
How do you say it?
Is it
Suggestion Diabolique?
Is it suggestions?
Yeah.
Oh.
Diabolic Suggestions.
Oh.
I guess he wrote it in French, Suggestion Diabolique.
Suggestion.
Yeah. And that's what it reeks of. It's all over the place. Even the repetitive chords.
Yeah.
You know, it has that. So, and this is a scherzo. Kudos to you, Professor Zabrik. If you're still around, that's quite a work. And to get it published by Boozy and Hawks, that's no easy feat.
That's been 55 years.
Yeah.
Since it was published.
Yeah.
Might be.
Yeah. So, well, lo and behold, we have another work. Who is it?
You?
Yeah, you have this work. So we were talking about song transcriptions. The art of the song transcription, not completely dead. I'm hoping I could still be counted among at least somewhere in the water surrounding the iceberg. But show a little bit of it, okay?
Yeah.
This, folks, is my latest song transcription of My Funny Valentine.
Oh.
I have to say, it's very Rachmaninoff-ish. See? You can see the chords. Very big. I even wrote the date. Completed in November 16th, 2022.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so. Yep. You want to see?
Mm-hmm.
You have one.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
For you. Wow, he does this all with a ruler and a pencil, probably.
Yeah.
They're very straight stems.
Stems,
You don't-
bar lines.
You don't use computers. He still does it the old-fashioned way.
Hey, I know a few others that still do it the old-fashioned way. I'm told Lee Evans still uses pencil and paper.
There is something to be said for slower process in creativity. It's like a statement I made the last show. The difference between driving through a neighborhood and walking through a neighborhood.
Yeah.
What you see and experience in the car or on your feet are very different things.
Yeah.
It's a very different perspective. And boy, it's so super clean. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful work.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get the
I'm
performance
gonna play
someday.
that for your concert.
Hopefully.
What are you thinking about time for this concert?
I have absolutely no clue.
Yeah.
You know, preparing for that concert could be a whole new segment of PSI. You ought to consider it. You call it, I don't know, PSI, a work in progress, or PSI's preparing for the coming storm. Oh, the perfect storm.
Perfect storm.
And if you were in direst consequences, we could call it PSI, the sinking ship, musician ship. USS. No.
Self-deprecating.
USS musician ship.
There you go.
Oh goodness. Oh, PSI is the eye of the storm. If you're right in the middle of it. Ooh. Oh, PSI, the calm before the storm.
Okay. Yeah.
No. So, but anyways, it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're getting there.
So, folks, if you enjoyed our show today, please comment, like, and subscribe. We enjoy being here. We enjoy being with you, talking with you. You enjoy our conversations. Please subscribe. We sure could use the company. This is
Marc,
and I am Elmer.
we are
Marc and Elmer's PSI Piano Scene Investigations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. See you, everybody. Have a good week.
See you at 0104.